The NBA season is less than a week away, and I'm joined once again by Logan. And we are going to go over the NBA over-unders. In this episode, we will be talking about the Western Conference, and next episode, we will be talking about the East. Let's get straight into it. So, to start us off in the Northwest Division, the reigning champion, Oklahoma City Thunder, their over-under is set at 62 and a half, coming off that 68 win season and the title, obviously. Is there a chance for a championship hangover for this Thunder squad, or do you think that they're gonna roll business as usual?
I think it's going to be business as usual. They're a young team, they got a good coach, and none of them drank apparently. No one was drinking at their parade or in the celebration. I think they're destined to show that they will be a dynasty and they're going to go for it again.
Yeah, they locked up SGA, Chet, both of Jalen Williams long term. So I think this is the team to watch out for the foreseeable future in the NBA. Next up, the Nuggets, 53 and a half. I have the Thunder going over as well. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah, me
Well,
too.
okay. Yeah, I figured. For this next team, the Nuggets, 53 and a half, I have them going over as well. They added Bruce Brown once again, Tim Hardaway Jr., Cam Johnson, and Jonas Valanciunas, I think, were huge signings for them. They did lose Michael Porter Jr., Saric, and Westbrook. For your thoughts for this Denver Nuggets squad?
Yeah, another over I love. I think this is the best roster they're probably ever going to have. They finally have a bench that actually fits with the team. Like you said, the addition of Hardaway, and we know how Bruce Brown is with this team, and then Valanciunas is a backup big. They've been searching for backup bigs forever. They've been rolling out Saric, DeAndre Jordan in the past, and then they also got Deron Holmes too coming off the ACL, so we'll see what he's like. But yeah, I think their depth is as best as it's ever been, and Jokic is the best player in the league. Some would say I'm on this over, and I love it.
At the very end of this episode, we'll have our locks for the picks that we really believe in. And I mean, spoiler alert, I think Denver definitely is one of my locks, but we'll get to that at the end of the episode. Minnesota Timberwolves, 49 and a half coming into the season. They did lose Nikhil Alexander Walker. In terms of players that I think can make a leap, Terrence Shannon and Rob Dillingham, I think they have the potential to really step up for this squad. Obviously, Anthony Edwards, I think he has another level that he can get to. He is playing like a top 10 player, but I think this season, I think he needs to take another level for the Timberwolves to have some more success in the playoffs. 49 and a half, I'm taking the over. How about you?
I'm on the under. I think the Nikhil Alexander loss is going to be really huge for them. I only like really six and a half ish players on this team. I'm not a Rob Dillingham believer. Conley's really old. I think it's going to be a lot on Anthony Edwards to create for this team, and he might be a little inefficient because of that. Also, making the conference finals 2 years in a row, I think they're bound to regress at some point, and I don't think they got better at all. And I think the West around them did. Um, but yeah, I'm on this under. I don't think they'll be a 50-win team.
Yeah, I think for the West, I mean, as we get to all these teams, there's just like the Houston added a lot of guys. I mean, I think San Antonio is going to be a lot better. So definitely there's some parts for regression that we'll see for these teams. Next up, Portland, 34 and a half. They added Drew. Obviously, Dame Lillard won't be available this season. They did lose DeAndre Ayton, Anthony Simons. I think that this backcourt is going to be very interesting. Shaden Sharp, Scoot Henderson, Drew Holiday. Obviously, Drew Holiday had quite a regression last season. This Portland squad I have going under the 34 and a half.
Yeah, me too. This one kind of pains me because they were such a darling at the end of last season. They were covering a lot of spreads, and I wanted to be on this over. They were really good defensively to end the year, but there's also some opponent shooting numbers that would suggest that their defensive numbers were a little fraudulent, but still, I think they should be a top five defense this season. I'm just really worried about this offense. I'm most curious how much Drew Holiday has left as sort of like a creator and a ball handler still. Scoot Henderson's going to miss some time to start the season, and you're really putting a lot of this creation on Shaden Sharp guard wise because they still have Denny who handles the ball, and I've been watching a little bit of preseason, I see Jeremy Grant bringing it up. I'm a little worried about this offense, and I wish I could go on the over, but I got to go under on these guys.
Yeah, I think one of the players that I'm very excited to watch is Yang Hansen, the Chinese rookie that they drafted. I think that'll be really interesting to see. Obviously, he is a rookie, so he'll probably have quite a bit of limited time, but it'll be interesting to see what he does. Another rookie that I'm very interested to watch, Ace Bailey for the Utah Jazz, coming in at the lowest over-under in the West with 19 and a half. They did add Kyle Anderson, Kevin Love, George Niang, Yusuf Nurkic. Although with losing Clarkson, Collins, and Sexton, huge pieces for that team last year, I think this is an easy under for me. Although I will really like to see Lowry Markin and Ace Bailey and to kind of see what they can do. Although I think this team's going to be very, very bad.
So I'm gonna take the over on this one. I think they can be really good defensively outside of that point guard position, but looking down the roster, they have a lot of size. They have a steady center rotation, and that's something I really look for on these questionable teams. I think if you have a steady center rotation, you can get by winning games. And I don't think they blow over this total, but if they get around 21 wins, I wouldn't be too surprised. I don't think that they're just going to tank away the season. I think after these last few years of teams jumping up a lot in the lottery, I don't think teams are, I mean, it was designed that way for teams not to tank, but it still happened. I don't really think they pull the plug on this season as early as others think, others that I've been hearing talk about this. I think they can fight enough, and they're really good at home. I think they can squeeze over this number if I had to pick, but I'm not real confident on that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that Adam Silver did really smartly with changing the lottery odds. I think that's definitely helped. As we've seen, like lottery teams come out of nowhere and get those high picks. Switching over to the Southwest Division, Houston coming in favored in this conference, 52 and a half. Obviously, that Fred Van Vliet injury is really, really brutal for them. He was one of the key components of this squad. They did add Clint Capella, Kevin Durant, Finney Smith, losing Brooks, Jalen Green, and Cam Whitmore. For Houston, I really, really am intrigued to see what Reed Shepherd will do for this squad. Şengün, I've been hearing a lot of great things about him. A potential leap could be in question for him. Houston, I'm taking the over 52 and a half.
Yeah, so before this Fred Van Vliet injury, their line was actually 56 and a half, and I loved that under, and I still like the under now. I don't think the offense is going to be good to sustain for a whole season. It might look good some nights with Şengün. Maybe Reed Shepherd gets hot, of course, Kevin Durant. But I think losing Green and Brooks and then eventually Fred Van Vliet to this injury is going to be really big for them because those three players were their three best 3-point shooters last season and guard creators as it is. They lost all of them. Now they're going to be stellar on defense. They're going to be very fun to watch. But if I don't think they get to 53 wins in this West, I just don't think that offense is going to be good enough to get them there throughout the course of this season.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. The offense is
And
definitely,
I'm a Rockets fan too, so
yeah.
I feel good about it.
It's definitely like one of the biggest question marks in the Western Conference for sure. Another big question mark for the West, the San Antonio Spurs. Is Victor Wembanyama potentially going to be in the MVP conversation? I think he's going to be right there. This over-under is set at 43 and a half. This team is going to be unstoppable defensively. They added Luke Cornett, one of my favorite signings of the offseason. He was a minimal player on the Celtics, but the energy that he brings, I think he's going to add a great component to that. Losing CP3, obviously, he's getting older, so I think that's not going to be too big of a loss for the Spurs. But this is all on Wemby's shoulders. I think Dylan Harper is going to be very interesting to watch as well as a rookie. De'Aaron Fox, we'll have to see. Kind of, he's coming off some injury battles, but I think the Spurs 43 and a half. I like their over, and I think I'll lock it in early. But I think this Spurs over, I'll lock it in.
All right. Well, I'm on the under. I think the roster is kind of all right. I don't think it's awesome. I don't think it's an awesome fit across the board. There's a big ball handling logjam. Fox is going to want the ball. Vassell's going to want the ball. Keldon Johnson is better with the ball. And then, of course, there's Dylan Harper. former Rookie of the Year Stephon Castle. Sohan is kind of good with the ball too. I think there's a lot of people who need the ball. I'm not too sure what to make of the forwards. Harrison Barnes is 33. He might have a big drop off in play. He's also on a contract year, so they might ship him off for all we know. I do like the centers though. Kelly Olynyk, Wembanyama, and Cornette. I just don't think they got 10 wins better. They won 34 games last year. I don't think they got 10 wins better. I'm gonna go slight under on the Spurs here.
Yeah, I think mostly the over for me was mostly just Wembanyama and the leap that I think he's going to make with all the work he's been doing, and I think his mindset, along with his physical aspect, I think his mindset is his competitive nature. It's going to be a show to watch for sure. Another show a couple hours away in Dallas, the Mavericks. Cooper Flag, I think a lot is going to be on his plate this season, especially with Kyrie Irving injured for quite a bit of time. And Anthony Davis, I mean, he's bound to get injured at some point. I think he's definitely one of the most injured superstars we have in the league. They did add D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Smith Jr.'s back in Dallas. For Dallas, I think this is a slight over 40 and a half. I think they can definitely be a above 500 team. Defensively, they're going to be very talented. Derek Lively and Cooper Flag, I think is going to be all over the place. Cooper Flag, do you have him as a lock for Rookie of the Year, or would you take the field?
Mm. I'd go lock just because I think the usage is going to be there from day one. And that's kind of the thing you have to think about the most for these rookies. Like last year, it was all in the air. No one knew who was going to crack a rotation or get the most usage. I think it's pretty clear that Flag's going to be used and he's probably going to be starting from day one. So I think I would take him as a lock. I actually don't know what those odds are. Do you know what those odds are?
I'll have to look. While you look for that, I have this Mavericks 40 and a half. I have the over.
I'm on the over two. Uh, we talked about the defense is going to be awesome. I don't think the D'Lo signing is actually like as mid as other people say because their numbers on the Lakers, AD and D'Lo together without LeBron were pretty good. And this team has forwards for days who are actually really talented. I think Caleb Martin and Najee Marshall can create more than people think. Max Christie is still young and rising. Who knows if Jaden Hardy has a leap? But as I said earlier, if you have a good center rotation plus a good forward rotation like this team has, I'm into the over on this team as well.
Another team with quite a bit of movement in the offseason, the Memphis Grizzlies. I really like Cedric Howard, their rookie out of Washington State. This over-under is at 39 and a half. They did add KCP, Ty Jerome, Jock Landale. Losing Cole Anthony and Desmond Bain, Jay Huff were the Desmond Bain piece obviously is going to be a huge loss for the Grizzlies. That's one of the main reasons why I have this as an under for the Memphis Grizzlies. I think the key point here is the health of Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. I think when they play together, they win. When they don't play, this Grizzlies team is completely different. So that's kind of why I'm taking the under, and I think that Bane piece is one of the biggest losses of an offseason for this Memphis team.
Mm. And then just for that flag thing, he's minus 180 for rookie of the year. That's a lot of juice, but I'd probably lay it because the next highest odds is three guys at plus 1,000. So that's that on that. For this Grizzlies team, I really liked the over, and during this like main part of the offseason, but as these injuries have came out really for Ja, since he is going to miss maybe a few weeks to start, that line dropped. It was at 41 and a half earlier this summer. I still kind of like the over. I don't know if they got 9 wins worse. I think this roster is pretty deep, and that's really good for getting through a season. The Ty Jerome signing was good. The only question I have on this over is on this coach, Frank. I don't know how to pronounce his last name. It's Finnish, Isalio. If it was Taylor Jenkins still coaching, I would like this over because he was able to get guys up and compete during those dog days of injuries the couple seasons ago. I still like this roster and how deep it is. I would lean a slight over on this team, but I'm not too confident on it.
Yeah, there's throughout this whole exercise, there's some that I was like, it was neck and neck. One of the ones that I had a little bit of back and forth with the New Orleans Pelicans. We have Skinny Zion. He has arrived. Kevon Looney, Jordan Poole were additions. CJ McCollum was a subtraction for that squad. Jordan Hawkins, I think this is it's kind of his opportunity to shine. I feel like with the loss of McCollum, obviously Jordan Poole's gonna have the ball a lot for that Pelican squad. I really want to see Point Zion. I think he's gonna have a huge load for this team offensively and just all over the court in general. This line is at 30 and a half. I had a slight over for this squad.
Yeah, me too. I was on the back and forth part, me too. I really want to be on this over, and I still am fighting it. I think the team we're talking about next is the other team that I'm debating between them. Right now, I have them as an under, but gosh, I really want to be on this over. You know what? I'm going to go over on this team. I think the health is finally going to click this season. I think Jordan Poole is going to be good. I like the Kevon Looney signing. That's a steady center rotation you got with Looney, Eve Misi, and then Derek Queen, the rookie. I like Jordan Hawkins. I like Jose Alvarado. They got good defense with Herb Jones, and Trey Murphy might be a star this year. Who knows what DeJounte Murray looks like when he comes back? I'm not really banking on that to really mean anything for this team. But I'm going to take a bet that this team is going to be healthy and they're going to squeeze over this number.
A team at the top of the Pacific Division that has had quite the offseason. Obviously, the whole scandal with Kawhi Leonard and all that's happened this offseason. Additions: Bradley Beal, John Collins, Brooke Lopez, near 40 or 40-year-old CP3. They did lose Norm Powell, who had a breakout season last year. This Clippers over-under is set at 49 and a half. Although I love Bogdanovich and Zubac, I had to take the under on this one.
Yep. And this is the team I was between. I'm on the under as well. I think they're extremely old, which is a red flag for getting through a regular season. And I actually kind of think they might struggle a little bit to score. Um, Harden's at 36 years old. Kawhi's 34. The two youngest guys in this rotation are Collins and Zubac, who were 28. I think Bogdanovich is probably done, just like being a good player. And then Lopez is 37 off the bench. Batum is 37. Chris Paul, of course, is 40. I just don't think a team that is old like this is going to be a 50-win team. And I think either one, Harden or Leonard, has some kind of noticeably declined. And I actually woke up today and I saw a notification that Brian Windhorst, reported that scouts are saying that Harden looks out of shape. Who knows how much credence that has, but it's not something you love to read when the season starts in 4 days. So I'm on the under for this team. I don't, because like last year, I liked their over because they were kind of an underdog-ish. I think this number is too high for them this year. I'm going on the under.
Yeah, the note I had for this squad, I would have loved this team and they would have done a lot of damage if it was 2019. But it's 6 years later. All these guys are older. Another situation right across the street. The Lakers, 47 and a half is this number. I am a slight over. I like the DeAndre Ayton. Hopefully rejuvenation. Obviously, Portland, they weren't trying to win. So I think the Lakers are going to need him. They're going to need him to step up, and they're going to need kind of a 2021 finals playoff that run that Ayton did have. LaBravia, a really washed up Marcus Smart, an addition for them. Lost Dorian Finney-Smith, I think could be a huge loss for the Lakers. I have a slight over for this one because I think Luka and LeBron more um more pressure on Luka obviously leading this squad. I think Reeves is going to have to step up. I mean, he's stepped up enough to this point, but I think this is the kind of the season that it's make or break for the Lakers, especially with LeBron nearing retirement. I don't know if this is going to be his last season because I think he'll kind of want to like a retirement tour like Kobe had and Dwayne Wade and things like that. But I think LeBron only has a couple of years left, so Luka and the squad is going to have to step up. So I like the 48 wins, so barely over for this one.
Yeah, and on that LeBron thing, this is the last year of his contract, so we'll see what happens if he's not retiring off this season. That's something to look for, and that storyline is another reason why I'm on the under on this team. I don't know if I actually love the starting five. I don't think they're going to be good defensively at all. I think between LeBron, Luca, and Reeves and that starting lineup, there's only one ball to share. There's also a Reeves contract situation. He's so underpaid that they can't really extend him because he's gonna want more money, and he's definitely worth more money. So that's something to look at on if they might trade him this season. But I don't really like this bench either. I think Marcus Smart is done. Laravia's fine. I think Kleber is done. Aiton, we'll see. If Aiton's playing hard every night, that's probably the reason why my under pick on this would lose. Is just if Aiton is turned back the clock to his really good finals run days with the Suns. Connect is like it's so weird with Connect because he had games last season where he dropped 25 plus points and then he looked like a disaster-ish in the summer league and the preseason. I still kind of like him, but they did kind of want to ship him away, so who knows if they really like him or not. I like the Laravia signing, but in theory, I don't think this team is built to win 48 wins. I think the LeBron and Reeves, contract stuff, it's going to be a problem. I think this is going to be a transition year. And going forward after the season, it's going to be built all around Luca. And I don't really think this team is built for Luca yet.
Yeah, the this over I didn't really love, but the Golden State Warriors at the same 47.5, I absolutely loved. Adding Seth Curry is huge, teaming up the Curry brothers. Al Horford, another great signing. Although he is old, I think he can still add a lot of great value. Losing Kevon Looney and adding in Horford, I think is kind of an upgrade for this Warriors squad. A lot of players I love on this. Pajemski, Buddy Hield, Jimmy Butler, and both of the Curry brothers. I really like this over, and I mean, I'll lock it in right now. I'll lock it in early because I think this squad, I don't know if they'll reach 50 wins, but I think they can get damn close.
Um, I'm on the under on this one again. Another one we're disagreeing on, but this is good. I think I'm just worried about this age between Curry, Butler, and Green. Green's 35, Butler's 36, and Curry's 37. I don't know if these guys are going to play a lot of games during this regular season. And we've kind of seen it with Jimmy already. He doesn't really go as hard in this regular season. So that's one thing I'm kind of worried about. The Kaminga fit is still a question. They brought him back. I don't think they're happy about it. I don't think he's happy about it. Steve Kerr is definitely not happy about how he fits and the way they want to play. On the contrary, though, I really do like the bench. I like the Al Horford signing, even though he's 39. I love Buddy Hield. I really like Moses Moody, who's actually 23. I thought he was older than that. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, Pajimski, Melton's coming off an ACL injury. Gary Payton, really good defender. I love Quentin Post, the shooter. Um, but I don't think this team's a 48 win team. I'm going to go under. I'm just worried about the age of their three best guys. I don't know if they get through the regular season with great health or availability.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the Clippers and the Warriors, that's going to be kind of something that's going to be a big key factor, both of those teams with the age. This team up next, the Sacramento Kings, I like them. I don't like the over. I'll take the under on the 35.5, but I think they'll be feisty. Saric, Schroeder, and they did sign Westbrook, I believe, yesterday, losing Laravia and Jonas Valanciunas. I think they'll be feisty. I like a couple of these guys on the team, but I just think the West is just too stacked for them to get over 36 wins.
Yeah, there's not a lick of defense on this team, especially with Keegan Murray, who just got hurt and extended, which was kind of funny. He got hurt, and then immediately they paid him $140, $100 million, I mean. But like I said, there's not a lick of defense on this team. The offense can be good in spurts, but I don't really think this team is going to win 36 games. I'm on this under as well. One of my more favorite unders on this board.
Another one of my favorite unders, I think the Phoenix Suns sitting at 31.5. They did add Dylan Brooks, Jalen Green, Mark Williams, losing Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Tyus Jones. If I were to give you an over-under for Devin Booker, I set it at 4.5 for how many more seasons he'll be on the Suns, but you can kind of give me your thoughts on that. I mean, he's loved in Phoenix. He's been a superstar since he was drafted and really exceeded expectations and obviously took them to the finals with CP3 and Aiton. But how many more years do you think he can last in Phoenix?
Well, He's signed through the 29-30 season. So on paper, he's got 5 more years with this team. We know he likes it, but we'll see about that. Things always change, is what I'm trying to say. I kind of like this over a lot. I think this is a roster that is built to compete in games. There's no real like super young guy on this team that's going to get a lot of minutes. I don't think Malawatch is going to get all these minutes in the world. Ryan Dunn is their next kind of youngish player, but I kind of like him. Green is young, but this is going to be his 5th year in the league. I think there's a lot of guys who are going to want to, play hard and prove themselves. Like, for example, Dylan Brooks coming off a trade. He's going to be guns and blazing defending. He's going to get everyone on this team to defend. Mark Williams got traded last year, then it was rescinded. He's going to want to prove that he's still a good year and he needs to get paid. He hasn't got a new contract yet, so he's going to be playing for some money. Once again, this team also has a good center rotation in general. Mark Williams, Malawach, Nick Richards, and Oso Ighodaro. Colin Gillespie is a good player too. I think all down this roster are just guys who are going to want to compete. They're gone from the drama of Kevin Durant and Bradley Beal. The forward spot is a little questionable. They might be a little small at that 4 position. But for 31.5 wins, I'm going to take a slight over on them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, Booker's obviously going to carry a lot of the duties. Jalen Green, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, he shows a lot of flashes, but he has a lot of dips, especially later in the season and in the postseason. He didn't look that good. It'll be interesting for sure. I think um, in review, I have 9 overs and 6 unders for the Western Conference. My 4 locks, I have the Oklahoma City over as a lock, Denver as a lock for the over, Spurs, I like the over as a lock as well, and then the Warriors over. I didn't have any unders that I truly loved. I'm a little bit more optimistic about the Western Conference. Your locks for the Western Conference.
I agree with you. I will lock up the Thunder over and the Nuggets over. I have an under lock, and I'm going to put it on my team, the Houston Rockets. And I think that's it. I kind of wanted to lock up a Suns over, but I'm not going to get there. I do want to say one more thing on the Suns team. For Jalen Green, 2 seasons ago when Shingun had that big leg injury around the start of March, Jalen Green was sort of unstoppable. I think the floor really opened up for him. They were spaced out. They had Jabari Smith playing 5 out. There's no center on the Suns team that's going to be 5 out, but he's going to have a pretty good rim running center out there always. So I just wanted to say that for Jalen Green optimism on another reason why I liked their over. But yeah, those are my 3 locks: Thunder over, Nuggets over, and then the Rockets under.
Yeah, I mean, comparing the two conferences, obviously the West has always been better, I feel like, for the last 10 years, it seems. The Eastern Conference, I can't wait to get that. But closing thoughts for the West, I'm really intrigued to see what happens in San Antonio. Obviously, Wemby. I really do like Carter Bryant out of Arizona. A little bit biased, but I think he's shown some great flashes, especially defensively. Rookie watch. I mean, we haven't really talked too much about the rookies, but I think could be the chance to be one of the best classes of all time. Obviously, Cooper Flag, I think, is going to be a transcendent rookie along the likes of Donovan Mitchell when he was in Utah, obviously LeBron, Tim Duncan in San Antonio. I think he has the potential to be that good that soon. I think the Thunder, they're just going to be at the number 1 spot, I feel like, all season. Denver is going to be right there. How do you kind of see this shaping out in terms of as we get to the postseason, let alone not really including for like injuries, because we know there will be injuries that happen, but how do you kind of see this playoff picture happening in the West?
I think it's pretty safe to say 1 and 2 will be Thunder Nuggets. That 3 spot, who knows? It could be Houston. It could be the Timberwolves. I don't really like anyone in the Pacific Division to be great. Maybe the Clippers are decent with wins, but I think this is a conference of the Thunder and the Nuggets. I was looking at futures. I liked, so spoiler, I like the Knicks in the East, and I looked at a parlay of Knicks winning the East, and then Thunder or Nuggets winning the West. When I did the Thunder with the Knicks, it was like plus 375, something like that. No, 975, sorry, plus 975. But then I switched in the Nuggets and it jumped all the way up to plus like 2,400. And I bet that because I love that value. So I think the future champion is in this Northwest division. It's either the Thunder or the Nuggets.
I think those easily could be the two best teams in the NBA. Obviously, the East is a lot weaker with the Celtics and Pacers. We'll get to that shortly. But this West, I think some storylines to watch. I think the MVP race is will be very interesting. I think Jokic is going to be right up there. SGA is going to be right up there as well. Wemby, do you think he has a shot to be in this MVP race, or do you think it's too soon?
Oh yeah, I think he totally does. It's one thing comes down to health. He hasn't really finished the season playing a lot of games, but he's only been in this league for 2 seasons. So he's still young. He's very, mobile and agile. We see the way he trains. He takes care of his body probably better than most. And he's, this is a little not as relevant, but in fantasy basketball, he's consistently in that top three range. I think if the Spurs team goes over their 43 and a half total, and he's played a lot of games, and they're, say they're not in the play-in, say they're in that top six for sure. I think the MVP case is totally valid for him.
Of all of the over-unders that we did select, obviously we have the locks that we're most confident about. What were the picks that you really had trouble with, and what were the ones that you were the least confident with?
The ones I had the most trouble with, Clippers, Pelicans, and I'd say the Grizzlies, and the Trailblazers too. Just because I want to be on this Trailblazers team, but I'm worried about the offense. The Grizzlies, I like how deep they are. I like a lot of guys on this roster, but who knows with the coach. And then Clippers, it's just I think they're so old. I think they're going to be not awesome on defense, at least in that guard position. They do have Dunn, yes, but how much is he really going to be playing? And if he's out there, that's going to hinder the offense a bit. And then for the Pelicans, it's really just the health. I like their roster a lot. I like their roster a lot in the sense of going over 30 and a half wins. But of course, health is the question there. So those are my four teams I kind of struggle with the most.
In terms of that 2019 draft, we had Zion and Ja Morant. Of those two players, if you were to predict this season who were to play more games, who do you feel more confident in?
um, well, Ja's already out for a few weeks. I don't think it's that long, just a couple of weeks. Um, oh God, that's a hard one. I want to say Ja, but it might be Zion. Zion might finally have his healthy year. Oh gosh, that's hard. You know what? Give me Zion. No
Wow.
real reason. I think it's going to be close,
Yeah.
but I don't even love that either. I could say Ja and be happy with it. I don't know. That's a good question. What do you think?
I mean, obviously, Skinny Zion took the world by storm during media day. Ja, he's so good for the Grizzlies when he's healthy. I think I'd slight lean Ja, but I think the workload that he's going to have, especially with Bane gone, I think could be a bit too much for him. I would slightly take Ja just because I don't really f fully trust that Zion, and I think his workload is going to be unbelievable for the Pelicans, especially if he's point Zion this season. So it'll be interesting. I think it's definitely one of the most fun questions that we could have for this season. So other than Cooper Flag, obviously, do you have like some rookies that you're really looking forward to in this Western Conference?
Um, with Dylan Harper, it's like how much is he really going to play? It looks like he could be really good. And Fox is already out to start the season for a little bit, so he might be in this rotation at the start of the year. I think that's something I'll look for to see how he develops because there is a logjam at that position. You have Castle, who won Rookie of the Year. You obviously have Fox, who's an established star in this league. And then Dylan Harper's supposed to be generational, apparently. Would have been the first pick if Flag wasn't in this. So we'll see. I think that logjam at that guard position is something I'll be looking at. And then this doesn't really count because he's not a rookie, but in my mind, Reed Shepherd is a rookie in the sense of he's going to be finally in a rotation with the ball in his hands, and the team is going to be counting on him. That's something I'll be looking for. And that's really it for the most part on the rookies. I guess you could say, like with the Pelicans, they have Fears and Queen. I don't love Queen. I like Fears a lot. Spoiler, or I'm not biased because I'm an Oklahoma fan. I actually do like Fears. I like how quick he is, how well he can get downhill, how confident he is to shoot. We'll just see how it goes because he also is one of the youngest guys in this league. As far as rookies go, I think that's all I'm really looking for. Yeah, I'd say that's about it for me on the rookies.
Yeah, I definitely have a lot more thoughts for the Eastern Conference rookie because that group, we'll get to that in the next episode, but that group has some players that I think could make some buzz. Any closing thoughts here on the Western Conference before we switch over to the East?
Yeah, actually, one more rookie I'm looking for. Nick Clifford on the Kings. I watched a lot of his summer league and preseason. He looks really good, and he could be really beneficial to this Kings team if he pans out.
Out of Colorado State?
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked Roddy a couple years ago coming out of Colorado State too. So Colorado State, they're producing some quality guys in the NBA. So I think overall for the West, the Thunder are pretty much going to run it. The Nuggets, we have them doing well again. I think it's safe to say this Nugget squad, I think it could be better than their 2022 winning team. I think Cam Johnson is a huge upgrade over Michael Porter Jr., especially Michael Porter Jr., quite the offseason he's had. He's wilding on these podcasts, but I think Cam Johnson is going to be a huge upgrade. And then, as you mentioned, Jonas Valanciunas, finally a backup big man for Jokic. That'll take a lot of weight off his shoulders, I think, too, because with the 5 minutes per half that he's out, or however much time he's out per half, Jonas can kind of help the offense and run a little low post action. So I'm very intrigued to see what happens in this Western Conference. And I think it's pretty much the Thunders to run away with.
Yep, full agreement. And I'll say on the Nuggets, it's the best roster I've seen them have, in my opinion.
Since they had Jokic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, probably all time, really. Because
Back
Jokic
when
is
back
that
when they
good.
had like in the 80s when they had Alex English and all that. But I think this will be a fun team for those Denver fans to watch. This has been the Over Unders West edition. We will be dropping this, and then the East will come out shortly after that. Thanks for tuning in.